Now this one. Major accident. Fell right off my tricycle onto the sidewalk.
Oh, that's not a scar. I'll show you a scar. Look at this one. Got this falling out of a treehouse. Landed right on a rake. A big chunk came out of my leg. There's blood everywhere. It was, ugh.
Hey, I got a scar that'll beat both of those hands down.
Oh, yeah?
Let's see it.
Okay, I'll show it to you. Oh, was that the microwave? I think that's my lunch. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Most of our scars come with a pretty gruesome story about how we got them in the first place. But you know, they also bring up an intriguing question. Why is it that some of our wounds heal without a trace and others form those ugly-looking scars? Well, the answer has to do with depth. But to show you what I mean, I'm going to need a prop. This'll do. You see, your skin is like a cake. It has layers. The outer layer is called the epidermis, and it's just like the icing. It's a protective barrier that prevents water, germs, and ultraviolet radiation from entering your body. Now, underneath the epidermis is a much thicker layer called the dermis. The dermis contains the working parts of your skin, the hair follicles, the sweat glands, the blood supply, and most of the nerves. Now, obviously, the dermis and the epidermis serve different functions, but there's one other factor that really sets them apart. If you've ever had a sunburn, you've probably seen your skin peel. Well, what's peeling off is the top layer of your epidermis. But luckily, your epidermis is constantly making new layers. So as the top layer wears off, a new layer is always right behind to take its place. But your dermis is different. It can't regenerate itself. If you damage it, your body can't make any more. But you can't leave a hole in your skin, so your body has to resort to a different method of repair. Now, you're probably wondering what this all has to do with scars. Well, you see, the way your body repairs a wound is similar to the way you fix a damaged wall in your house. Now, suppose you notice some paint chipping off your wall. What would you do? Well, you'd sand it down, make it smooth, and then paint over it again. And when the paint dries, well, the wall would look as good as new. It's similar to what happens when a wound only damages your epidermis. Your blood forms a scab, which temporarily plugs the hole. Underneath the scab, a new layer of epidermis slowly makes its way to the surface. And when the repair is complete, your skin looks the same as it did before the injury. But suppose someone put a nice hole in your wall. Now, you can paint over the hole as much as you'd like, and you'll still have a hole. What you need is something to fill in the hole. But you can't make new wood, so what do? Well, you mix up a batch of your trusty filler, and you stick it in the hole. And that's exactly what scar tissue is. It's filler that your body produces because it can't make new dermis. And just like this stuff is different from wood, scar tissue is different from your normal skin. Scar tissue contains no hair follicles, no sweat glands, and fewer nerve endings. It's also stiffer and less flexible than regular skin. It's an inferior product, but it's the best your body can do. So the bottom line is that if you cut deep enough into your skin, your body will have to produce scar tissue to repair the damage, and you'll end up with a scar. Now, there is one instance where we actually take advantage of the way our skin is designed to engage in some artistic expression. They're called tattoos. A tattoo is made by using a needle to pierce through your epidermis and deposit a colored dye into the tissues underneath. And that's why tattoos are permanent, because the dye is placed below those regenerating cells of your epidermis. If you wanted to remove it, you'd have to cut into your dermis layer, which would leave behind a scar. Now, not all damage to your skin comes in the form of cuts or scrapes. There's something else that can be far more serious, even life-threatening: a burn. probably heard burns described as first, second, or third degree. Well, these terms refer to how serious the damage is. And once again, it all relates back to those different layers of your skin. A mild sunburn is an example of a first-degree burn. Only the first few layers of your epidermis are affected, so healing is quick and complete. With a second-degree burn, all of your epidermis is affected and some of your dermis. The skin forms a blister, and there can be some scarring depending on how much of the dermis is damaged. Third-degree burns are the most serious. Now both the epidermis and the dermis are completely destroyed. And if a large area of skin is burned, your body has to produce a lot of scar tissue to fill the hole. This takes time and leaves you vulnerable to a serious infection. Now, there's one other problem with a bad burn. I've already told you that scar tissue is much stiffer and less elastic than regular skin. So suppose I have a bad third-degree burn on my arm, and I allow it to fill in with scar tissue. After it heals, I'd have a hard time bending my arm because the scar tissue is so stiff. To heal properly, what I really need is to fill that wound with regular skin, not scar tissue. And that's why the most common treatment for a third-degree burn is a skin graft. In a skin graft, the surgeon first removes a thin slice of healthy skin from the patient's body. The graft contains all of the epidermis and a thin layer of dermis. It's then stretched so it can cover a larger area. And then finally, it's carefully placed into the burned area and allowed to heal in its normal way.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, so where's that great scar you were talking about?
Oh, that one. Okay, well, let me tell you, I got it when I was little, okay? And I was sliding down this railing, and there was this nail sticking up at the bottom, and I went sliding down, and, well, let me just tell you that I couldn't sit down for about a week after. But hey, it's a great scar, so I'll show you.
Oh, hey, okay, hey, you win, all right?
You don't have to show us that.
You don't need to see that.